Thank you so much for joining us on the news, Mr. Temlong.
It's my pleasure. Thank you and good evening.
General, now, what are the main operational weaknesses that allow repeated attacks on military bases like the 27th Task Force Brigade in Buni Yadi, despite years of experience with such threats?
Well, thank you very much. The oxygen for the terrorists actually is the civil population. And so to be able to isolate the terrorists from the civil population, you are able to give them a deadly fight because they are, what they try to do is to coerce the population, instill fear in them, to make them follow them or pay allegiance to them and be loyal to them. So that's why the strategy that the Nigerian military and the government as a whole has brought up is that you need a whole of society approach. And that means that everybody is involved in this fight against the terrorists. That way you are able to isolate the terrorists because as it were now, you don't know who is a terrorist. They don't have specific uniforms or tribes, so there's a symmetry between them and their own troops. They are all within our own society. They get their intelligence from the citizens in that place. They are embedded in some of those communities. And their tactics is that they come in with a machine as if they carry somebody as a passenger, and they start moving their people to an assembly area pre-arranged. So the problem is quite problematic for the military to actually know who is a terrorist and where they are moving and where their movements.
Okay.
And it's easy for the population to give intelligence about the military because they are there, they are in locations, they come in, they interact with the people, population, and so a lot of them give a lot of intelligence about the military, their movement, their location, including their strength.
Okay.
And again, these days, you've seen that technology is available in the open market like the drone technology. And they are increasingly using drone again for surveillance and then arm them with IEDs and exploding them in locations. So it's quite a very complex situation that we're dealing with. We're dealing with
all right, General, just before you go ahead, if it's possible for you to tell us how effective are current intelligence gathering, and early warning systems, especially in detecting and preventing, insurgent attacks in vulnerable areas?
The intelligence is as good as the cooperation of the population because the intelligence comes from the civil population. And so for the intelligence to be given is that when you see something, you say something, or when you suspect people or strangers in your own community, you should be able to pass that will be processed by the intelligence agencies into intelligence because what they give is raw information. So the effectiveness of what they get depends on how cooperative the population is. And that is why I have been preaching that we should be able to teach or get our people to build community resilience and teach them early warning systems that they're able to see certain indicators and report them immediately. Will do. That will be able to help our communities to be resilient, and that will assist the troops too in their operations because as quickly as possible they have some level of capacity building and training that they're able to pick certain things of intelligence value and then send them to the appropriate quarters where they are analyzed and brought into a product of actionable intelligence. So the effectiveness of the intelligence is a process or a product of a process that comes up from the information that comes to them to be processed to become an actionable intelligence. And that information mostly comes from the people. And so the effectiveness is actually when the citizens cooperate and they know what they are supposed to do in the scheme of national security, then it becomes very effective.
All right, cooperation.
The problem that we say that security is everybody's business. Yes, it is. But how do the population know what to do that will enhance their own security? So that is the important thing that some of us have been preaching, that the governors and the local government chairmen must get involved in building the resilience of their communities, building them to be able to gain early warning, be able to give information through a secured line or through a pre-alleged line that is built up with the national security system. So that is what we need to do. And once we are able to do that and get our acts right, we will have this problem being dealt with properly. But as it was now, communities are very loose. People move about, nobody cares who is moving and the rest. And the value to life itself, is there a value to life? I don't know how it is now. Because nobody cares when somebody is killed. You see how the despondency within the youth, the lack of hope, hopelessness, and the rest of us must rebuild the whole society to give them hope, give them, let them be resilient, let them be able to stand their own, let them be able to detect signs, danger signs and warnings that are coming to their communities and within them and report. And so there has to be a reporting line between them. It's quite doable, and that's the model that once we adopt, we'll be able to deal with these situations squarely.
All right, now, General, if you could tell us also, you talked about, cooperation from the public being very important, but what are other challenges, do Nigerian security forces face, especially in securing remote and difficult terrains, like the Sambisa forest or even the Lake Chad Basin?
The terrain is quite difficult. Even in that Yobe area that you're talking about, they are quite challenging. But you see, the military is trained to operate in all weather and all terrains. And that's why there are certain equipment that will be able to help you in fording some of these areas. And so we need those sort of equipment that should be fielded in the, within the services. You need more boots on ground. You need technology. You need eyes in the sky. And so there are a lot of things that once they are given the wherewithal, I tell you, the Nigerian soldier or the Nigerian troops will be able to do what they are supposed to do. And appropriately, we have been doing it in the past, and they will continue to do it once they have appropriate equipment, appropriate wherewithal. The morale of the men will be really high. So I think what we need to do is to increase the equipment holding. We increase boots on ground, we increase the use of technology, and we put up eyes in the sky and then integrate the air and ground operations in a way that the Air Force will be providing close air support and to the ground forces.
All right. Now, just before we let you go, General, what impact does a leadership transition within the military, such as changes in theater commanders, have on operational effectiveness and morale? Because we do know that in most cases, continuity is a major problem as well.
Well, again, there's what we call battle fatigue, that if you keep somebody long in an operation, they suffer battle fatigue. And so the changes itself, you are reinvigorating, bringing in fresh blood into the system. The new theater commander that has been taken there, General Yobe State, is a tested officer who has performed extremely well, especially on the plateau here at the Special Task Force. He did a great job here. He had operated again in the Northeast before, and so he's not going as a new person. He's going to a terrain to add the experiences that he has gathered over the years, and then to bring in new inspectors into the fight. So it's not going to affect anything per se, like you're saying. Rather, it will improve on the fighting probability and then the operational effectiveness of the troops. He has vast experience. He's a well-tested officer. He will be able to perform extremely well. So the changes itself does not. The military high command consider all these things before they carry out some of these postings. Sometimes somebody has stayed long in a place, he needs to be relieved. And so that's what sometimes we call relieving line. You relieve people to go and rest, and then you now inject fresh boots or fresh people into the operations. That helps. But again, you see, sometimes these people take advantage of the window of changes that a new command is coming and the rest to try and strike this sort of thing because they are testing the will of the commander. So, and the commander knows that they are testing his will and he will reverse the situation as quickly as possible.
All right. Well, thank you so much, General, for joining us and also for speaking to us on this.